So our second kind of category of things that we wanted to mention is airflow and sunlight. We talked about this, but trust us, it is very, very important.
We're
So
talking about it a lot for a reason
yeah,
because it's so important
it
and
will
it's
save
such an
you so
easy
much
one.
headache.
It's such an easy one, but yet if you do this one thing, all of your gardening will be so much better.
It honestly makes it easier to get into your garden too. If it's nice and like flowing, you can get in there. But basically you want to not overcrowd your plants. Don't get us wrong, we ride that line. We definitely ride that line.
Yeah, we
We
do.
plant because we don't want like empty space in our garden. We totally understand that. We don't want it either. We plant heavily. But you can get away with it a little better if you're really on top of your pruning. So you want to go in there and get rid of lower leaves because, okay, think about it this way. All of your leaves are solar panels for your plant. If these leaves are at the very bottom and they're mostly seeing shade all day, don't worry about them. It's okay. Don't go into the very top of your plant and just take everything off the top. Start low. Clear out all that stuff low where it gets really dense. If it's not getting like full rip sunlight, it's going to be okay. It's going to make new leaves. It's going to keep going, but you will save yourself a ton of headache by getting all that airflow through there. And then basically for the vast majority of plants, the more sun you give them, the better. I say
Yes.
that because there are some which if you do that, they will die. Houseplants will die. Ginger, turmeric will die. So basically, if you have like an understory plant, you don't want that. If you have a plant that comes from essentially a rainforest, you don't want to give them full sun. Most of our production vegetables and things, however, want as much sun as you can possibly give them. And that also, like we were talking about earlier, it helps dry your foliage out so you have less chance to pick up some of these water transmitted diseases.
And the third tip that we wanted to mention is water correctly. Just be cognizant of your watering. Do it early in the morning if you can muster that, if that is the opportunity that you have. Obviously, if the only time you're able to go in your garden is in the afternoon, you got to do what you got to do. But I would even recommend possibly getting a automated system so that it will water for you early in the morning and then you can supplemental water in the evening, only the places that dry out. That's still what I would recommend because it'll make your life so much easier. So water early in the morning, water the soil, not the plants, not the leaves. Most plants prefer not to get wet on their leaves. It's just it helps keep that disease pressure down because as we talked about so many times, moist environment is where most of these bacteria and fungi thrive.
Mm-hmm.
So if the only danger area is the soil and you've pruned your plant to be far from the soil, then you're keeping your environment in a much more balanced way so that it can dry out between waterings and you're not going to have as much disease pressure. Use drip irrigation if you have the opportunity. I know a lot of people like to mulch. We do and we don't. It depends on the situation.
Yeah, it depends.
I'm still a little bit riding the fence on mulch because I kind of like to see the moisture of my bed by visually looking at it, and it's easier to feed and stuff like that. But I think that there's a place for it. If you're in an environment that stays too humid and you're having too much splash onto your plants from your irrigation or whatever, then put mulch down so it'll keep that splash damage down. So it'll really help in that way. Let the topsoil dry slightly between your waterings. All of these little micro changes make big differences in your garden's health and well-being.